Hello and welcome to Legendary Tractors. In 1986, a brand new company tried to make a big splash with American farmers. That company was Deutz-Allis, the result of a merger between Gleaner Humboldt Deutz of Germany and the struggling Allis-Chalmers agricultural division. To announce this, they put out a glossy brochure. It was supposed to be bold, inspiring, and convincing. Instead, it might have worked better as an obituary for Allis-Chalmers than as a sales pitch. It is with equal parts sadness and irony that we announce the passing of the Allis-Chalmers Agricultural Division, once a proud builder of America's tractors, combines, and farm machinery, whose colors, Persian orange and cream white, were as familiar on the farm as sunrise and dust. Born in 1914 when Allis-Chalmers acquired the Monarch Tractor Company, this hard-working manufacturer grew through the decades with a spirit of innovation and a drive to serve farmers everywhere. The company introduced the first successful rubber-tired tractor, gave the world the WD, D-Series, and 7 and 8000 series, and put Gleaner combines in fields across America. But the good years gave way to hardship. In the late 1970s, a tough farm economy, soaring interest rates, and overseas competition began to take their toll. Despite loyal dealers and decades of farmer trust, Allis-Chalmers found itself burdened with debt and dwindling sales. It finally succumbed to its financial illnesses in March of 1985. Allis-Chalmers is survived by its faithful offspring, Gleaner, which still gleams silver in AGCO fields, along with a new generation from the 1990s and early 2000s of orange-painted tractors that proudly remember their heritage. In lieu of flowers, friends are encouraged to attend a local tractor show, polish up their D19, and share a few stories about the way things used to be. Because though the name is gone, the legacy of Allis-Chalmers still rumbles to life wherever that old Persian orange paint catches the sun. Alrighty then, today we're going to walk through that brochure put out by Deutz-Allis page by page. We'll look at what it said, and what it didn't say, and why it didn't connect with farmers. And then we'll take the story further to show how from this failure came a surprising rebirth, AGCO, a company that still shapes farming today. Before we dive into the brochure, let's set the stage. Allis-Chalmers was once one of the biggest names in American agriculture. The orange tractors, their silver Gleaner combines, these were fixtures on farms. But by the early 1980s, times were tough. The American farm crisis hit hard, high interest rates, falling land values, and farmers tightening their belts. Equipment sales plummeted, and Allis-Chalmers, already struggling financially, was in trouble. In 1985, they sold their agricultural equipment division to KHD of Germany. The new company was called Deutz-Allis. It was supposed to combine German engineering with American farming tradition. The brochure was their big announcement of this new era. The cover of the brochure? No tractors, no combines. Nothing farmers could relate to, just a slogan. I think that was their first mistake. Inside, we see a dramatic piece of artwork, a hand holding the new Deutz-Allis logo, supposedly being forged in fire. It looks less like farm marketing and more like communist propaganda art from the old Soviet Union. It wasn't the kind of thing that spoke to American farmers in 1986, or even today. Or ever, for that matter. On page 3, they make a big statement. See what sets us apart. The problem is, nothing in the text actually set them apart. Allis-Chalmers already had most of these systems, and their competitors did too. It was just marketing fluff. The bottom of page 3 highlights the 8000 series tractors. Big, solid Allis-Chalmers machines. Well, here's the kicker. The new company didn't keep building them. As soon as they ran out of parts, they dropped the 8000s and switched to the 9000 series. These were basically white tractors with Deutz engines, painted in green. And with that, the classic Allis-Chalmers Persian orange disappeared. Pages 4 and 5 show some interesting things. At the top of page 4, there's a Deutz tractor with both front and rear mounted motors. At the time, that was almost unheard of in the US. Today, it's pretty common. In that sense, the idea was ahead of its time. Then we see some Gleaner combines, and here's the one true survivor of all this upheaval. Gleaner has always been painted silver, always had a loyal following, and it's still part of AGCO today. That was a smart move, keeping Gleaner consistent. The bottom of page 5 shows a square baler, most likely an imported European design. Problem was, in the US, farmers already had strong loyalties to New Holland, Heston, and John Deere for hay equipment. Deutz-Allis hay tools just didn't really take off. Page 6 shows planters and tillage tools. They were solid Allis designs, but again, all painted green. For longtime orange loyalists, that was a turnoff. Strangely, they didn't even feature their no-till planter technology, something Allis had pioneered and which was gaining traction in the 1980s. The lawn and garden equipment at the bottom of page 6, most of that actually was already spun off to simplicity. So even what they were advertising didn't really stay in the family. And finally, the back cover. A model in brand new farm clothes with a big floppy hat and a fancy wristwatch. He didn't look like a farmer. He looked like a city guy dressed up for the photo shoot. And it showed. The whole thing felt inauthentic. So why didn't this brochure, or the Deutz-Allis experiment for that matter, work? Part of it was timing. The farm crisis meant farmers weren't buying as many new machines. But it was more than that. Deutz-Allis stripped away the identity farmers connected with, the orange paint, the tractors they trusted, the American branding. Instead, they pushed green-painted imports and corporate slogans. The dealer network shrank, support weakened, farmers didn't see a company that understood them. And in agriculture, once you lose trust, it's hard to get it back. But here's the good part. From the ashes of Deutz-Allis came something new, AGCO. In 1990, the U.S. management team bought the company back from KHD. They renamed it the Allis-Gleaner Corporation, AGCO, and they learned from the mistakes. They brought back the orange paint on tractors. They invested in the Gleaner combines. They made smart acquisitions, Heston for hay equipment, White for planters and tractors, Massey Ferguson later on. AGCO started small, but it grew fast because it listened to the farmers. Looking back, the 1986 Deutz-Allis brochure is a fascinating piece of history. It's full of promises, but light on substance. It tried to inspire, but it missed the mark. And yet, it set the stage for a bigger story, the rebirth of a farm equipment giant. AGCO rose like a phoenix, not by forgetting the past, but by respecting it. Farmers don't just buy machines. They buy into legacies, colors, brands, and trust. Deutz-Allis forgot that. AGCO remembered it, and that's why they succeeded. Thanks for watching Legendary Tractors. If you enjoyed this trip through farm history, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what do you think Allis-Chalmers' biggest missed opportunity was? I'll see you in the next video, and I hope that you have a great day.